The medical station called Gentle Respite floated in the empty darkness of space. It circled a dying red star, far away from the busy center of the Galactic Union. This was a place for the forgotten, the hopeless, the patients that nobody expected to wake up. Yuna had worked here for 3 years. She was a human nurse from a small colony world called New Bazan. Her parents had been farmers. Her grandmother had been a healer who used old medicines and older songs. Yuna had wanted something more. She had wanted to see the stars. Now she cleaned bedpans for aliens and changed nutrient bags for patients who would never open their eyes. She was 28 years old. She had dark hair that she always tied back in a simple knot. Her eyes were tired, but still kind. The aliens on the station called her the Gentle One. She knew this was their nice way of saying she was boring, harmless, nobody special. Yuna did not mind. She liked being nobody special. Special people had special problems. She just wanted to do her job and help people feel less pain. Tonight was like every other night. The station was quiet. Most of the staff had gone to sleep. Only the emergency lights were on, making everything look blue and cold. Yuna walked down the long hallway with her medical card. Her soft shoes made no sound on the metal floor. She checked on a Mallory diplomat who was dying of old age. She adjusted the breathing mask for a Krethian worker who had been injured in a mining accident. She smiled at a young Vessi child who could not sleep and told him a story about a rabbit on the moon. Then she went to Ward 7 Black. This ward was different from the others. It had only one patient. The door required 3 different codes to open. There were warnings on the wall in 6 languages. Yuna had memorized them all, but she did not really understand what they meant. The patient was called the Sleeper. He had been found 2 years ago in a part of space called the Void Territories. This was a region so empty that even lights seemed afraid to go there. A patrol ship had discovered an old vessel drifting in the darkness. The ship was impossible. It was over 12,000 years old, but it looked almost new. The metal had not rusted. The systems had not failed. It was like time had forgotten about it. Inside, they found him. He looked human. He had black hair and a strong face. He could have been a man from any colony world. But when the doctors examined him, they found that he was wrong. His bones were too heavy. His muscles were too dense. His blood had things in it that nobody could identify. One scientist said his cells looked like they had been designed by someone very smart and very afraid. He had been in a coma since they found him. His heart beat. His lungs breathed. But he did not wake. Some doctors thought he was brain dead. Others thought he was waiting for something. Yuna did not think anything. She just did her job. She changed his sheets. She cleaned his skin. She talked to him sometimes, even though he could not hear. She told him about her day, about the food in the cafeteria, about the stars outside the window. Tonight she was changing his nutrient drip when it happened. His eyes opened. Yuna had seen many patients wake up before. It was usually slow, confused. They would blink and look around and not understand where they were. This was not like that. His eyes snapped open like a trap closing. They were dark brown, almost black. And they were not confused. They were sharp, alert, dangerous. They were the eyes of a hunter who had just seen prey. He looked at Yuna. Then he screamed. The sound was like nothing she had ever heard. It was not just loud. It was wrong. It seemed to go through her ears and hit something deep inside her chest. Something old. Something that remembered being hunted by things in the dark. Yuna fell backward. Her cart crashed to the floor. Alarms started screaming. Red lights flashed everywhere. She heard other sounds too. Distant crashes. People shouting. Something breaking. The man was sitting up now. His body was shaking. His hands were gripping the bed so hard that the metal was bending under his fingers. His mouth was still open, still making that terrible sound. Then he stopped. He looked at Yuna again. This time, the hunter was gone. There was just confusion, fear, pain. He looked like a man who had woken up from a very bad dream. Yuna's training took over. She did not run. She did not scream. She got up slowly, keeping her hands where he could see them. "It is okay," she said. Her voice was shaking, but she made it soft, gentle, like she was talking to a scared child. "You are safe. You are in a hospital. My name is Yuna. I am a nurse. I am here to help you." He stared at her. His chest was moving fast. His hands were still shaking. She could see that he was trying to understand, trying to remember. "Where?" His voice was rough, broken, like he had not used it in a very long time. "Where am I?" "You are on a medical station," Yuna said. "You have been asleep for a long time. How long?" Yuna did not want to answer, but she could see in his eyes that he needed the truth. 2 years here," she said. "But the ship they found you in, it was very old. 12,000 years old." He closed his eyes. His whole body seemed to sag. For a moment, Yuna thought he would fall back into his coma. Then he whispered something, a word in a language she did not know. It sounded like a name. Outside the window, the stars looked the same as always. Cold, distant, uncaring. But somewhere far away, in the dark spaces between those stars, something was waking up. Something that had heard the scream. Something that had been waiting for 12,000 years. And it was hungry. Yuna did not know this yet. She only knew that her patient was awake and needed help. So she did what she always did. She got a cup of water. She adjusted his pillow. She told him that everything would be okay. She was just a nurse, but everything was about to change. His name was Taiwu. He told Yuna this after she brought him water, after she helped him sit up properly, after she cleaned the sweat from his face with a cool cloth. His hands had stopped shaking, but his eyes still looked lost, like a man standing in a place he did not recognize. "Taiwu," he said again, as if reminding himself. "My name is Taiwu." Yuna wrote it down on her medical pad. She asked him simple questions. Did he feel pain? Could he move his fingers and toes? Did he know what year it was? He could move everything. He felt no pain, but he did not know the year. When Yuna told him, he went very still. She watched his face as he did the math in his head. 12,000 years. That was how long he had been sleeping. "Everyone I knew is dead," he said. It was not a question. "I am sorry," Yuna said. She meant it. Outside the room, she could hear chaos. The alarms had stopped, but people were running and shouting. She heard the station administrator's voice over the speaker system. There had been some kind of accident. 17 patients had collapsed at the same moment. The moment Taiwu had screamed out, the door towards 7 Black opened. Administrator Voss came in. He was a Krethian, tall and thin, with 4 arms and skin the color of old copper. His face had too many angles to be human, but Yuna had learned to read his expressions. Right now, he looked scared. "Nurse Yuna," Voss said. "What happened here?" Before she could answer, Taiwu spoke. "I happened." Voss turned to look at the patient. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "You are awake, yes. You have been unconscious for 2 years. You should not be able to sit up. You should not be able to speak clearly. The doctor said your brain activity was almost 0. Taiwu smiled. It was not a happy smile. "Your doctors do not know what I am." "Then tell me," Voss said. His voice was hard now, demanding. "Tell me what you are." Tell me why your scream caused 17 people to have heart problems. Tell me why there are 5 ships approaching this station at speeds that should be impossible." The room went very quiet. Una looked at the window. She could not see the ships, but she could see Voss's reflection. He was afraid. More afraid than she had ever seen him. Taiwu stood up. He should not have been able to do this. He had been in a bed for 2 years. His muscles should have been weak. His bones should have been fragile. But he moved like a soldier, smooth, controlled, ready for anything. He walked to the window and looked out at the stars. 12,000 years ago, he began, there was a war. Not a small war between planets. A war for survival. A war against something we called the Hollow. "I have never heard of the Hollow," Voss said. "No, you would not have. They were erased from history. Or rather, history was erased from you." Taiwu turned around. "The Galactic Union thinks it is old. It thinks it has always been here. But you are children playing in the lie. Ruins of a house that burned down before you were born." He looked at Una. Something in his eyes changed when he saw her. Recognition. Like he was seeing someone he had met before. Even though that was impossible. "The Hollow are not alive," he continued. "Not in any way you would understand. They are emptiness, absence. They exist in the spaces between things, and they consume everything they touch. 12,000 years ago, they came to our galaxy. They ate 17 civilizations in 100 years. Trillions of lives, gone, like they had never existed." Una felt cold. She wrapped her arms around herself but could not get warm. "How did you stop them?" she asked. "We built weapons. Not guns or bombs. We built people." Taiwu held up his hands. "Humans were changed, engineered, made stronger, faster, more resilient. We became living weapons against the darkness. They called us Deathworlders." "Because your planet was dangerous?" Voss asked. "No, because we brought death to anything that threatened our allies." The station shook. Not hard, but enough to make Una grab the wall. The lights flickered. When they came back on, they were dimmer. "The ships," Voss said. "They are already here." Taiwu nodded. "They heard me. When I screamed, I sent out a signal. I did not mean to. It was instinct. A call for help." He paused. "But the Hollow heard it too. They have been sleeping, just like me, waiting, hiding in the dark places where no one goes. And now they know that a Deathworlder is awake. What do we do?" Una asked. Taiwu looked at her for a long moment. She saw something in his eyes. Pain. Old pain. The kind that never really goes away. "I was the captain of a ship," he said. "A supercarrier called the Eternal Soul. She was built to fight the Hollow. She was the most powerful weapon my people ever made. When the war ended, when we thought we had won, I went to sleep inside her. I was supposed to wake up when it was safe. But it was never safe," Una said. "No, it was never safe." He walked toward the door. "When I screamed, I did not just call the Hollow. I called her. The Eternal Soul. She has been waiting for me, drifting in the void, and now she is coming." The station shook again. Harder this time. Una heard metal groaning somewhere far away. The emergency lights turned red. "The Hollow are here," Taiwu said. "This station cannot fight them. Your weapons will not work. Your shields will not hold. Everyone here will die unless we leave." "Leave?" Voss made a sound like choking. "Leave how?" "Our ships are small, slow. We cannot outrun those things." Taiwu walked through the door. Una followed him without thinking. Voss came too, his forearms waving in confusion and fear. "We do not need to outrun them," Taiwu said. "We need to reach my ship. She will protect us." "Your ship is 12,000 years old," Voss said. It cannot possibly still work. Taiwu stopped walking. He turned around and looked at the administrator. When he spoke, his voice was quiet, certain, the voice of a man who had seen terrible things and survived them all. The eternal soul was built to last forever, he said. She has been waiting for her captain. And now her captain is awake. He looked at Yuna again. That strange recognition was still there. Will you come with me? He asked why Yuana thought about her quiet life, her boring job, her small room with its window looking out at the stars. She thought about being nobody special. Then she thought about all the patients on this station. The Mallory diplomat, the Krethian worker, the little Vessi child who could not sleep. Yes, she said, I will come. She did not know why she said it. She was just a nurse. But sometimes, just a nurse is exactly what the universe needs. The hollow came through the walls. Yuna had expected them to break in, to smash through doors or cut through metal. But they did not do that. They simply appeared. One moment, the hallway was empty. The next moment, there was a shape standing in front of them. It was wrong. That was the only word Yuna could think of. The thing was shaped like a person, but it had no face, no features. It was like someone had cut a hole in the universe in the shape of a body. Where it stood, the lights went dark. The air became cold. Yuna felt her heart beating too fast. The hollow made a sound. It was not a voice. It was the opposite of a voice. It was silence that somehow hurt to hear. Taiwu moved faster than Yuna could see. One moment he was beside her. The next moment he was in front of her. His hand shot forward and touched the hollow's chest. Light exploded from his palm. Not normal light. This light was golden and warm. It felt like summer, like safety, like the memory of being a child and knowing that nothing bad could happen because someone strong was watching over you. The hollow screamed. Its silence became sound, high and terrible. Then it was gone. Not dead, just gone. Pushed away by something it could not understand. Taiwu stumbled. Yuna caught his arm. That took a lot out of me, he said. His face was pale. I have been asleep too long. My body is not ready for this. Can you do that again? Yuna asked. A few more times, maybe. He looked down the hallway. More shadows were gathering at the far end. More shapes that were not shapes. Not enough times. Voss was pressed against the wall, his 4 eyes wide with terror. What are those things? I told you. The hollow. They eat reality. They eat matter and energy and thought. Everything that makes the universe real, they consume. Taiwu started walking again, pulling Yuna with him. We need to reach the docking bay. The eternal soul is close. I can feel her. They ran. Behind them, the hollow followed. They did not run like people. They moved like liquid shadow, flowing through the air and walls. Every few seconds, Taiwu would turn and push another one back with his golden light. But each time, he became weaker. Yuna's mind was racing. She was a nurse. She knew about bodies, about energy, about what happened when someone used more than they had. You are burning yourself out, she said. Yes, you will die, maybe. Taiwu smiled at her. It was a tired smile, but also kind. But if I do not fight, everyone dies. That is not a hard choice. They reached a junction in the hallway. 2 paths. Taiwu closed his eyes and stood very still. She is this way, he said, pointing left. The eternal soul. I can feel her calling. How? Voss asked. How can you feel a ship? Because she is not just a ship. She is family. Taiwu opened his eyes. When we built her, we gave her part of ourselves. Our memories. Our hopes. Our love. She's been alone for 12,000 years, waiting for us to come home. They went left. The hallway ended at a large window. Through it, Yuna could see the docking bay below. There were small ships there. Transport vessels. Emergency pods. Nothing that could fight the hollow. But beyond the station, through the transparent walls, she saw something else. A ship was approaching, but calling it a ship was like calling an ocean a puddle. It was enormous, 12 kilometers long. Its hull was smooth and silver, shaped like a great leaf floating on water. Lights ran along its surface in patterns that looked almost like breathing, like a heartbeat. The eternal soul. She's beautiful, Yuna whispered. She is everything we were, Taiwu said. His voice was thick with emotion. Everything we hoped to be. Everything we lost. The window exploded. Not from the hollow. From the ship. A beam of golden light shot out from the eternal soul and carved a path through the station wall. Not destroying. Creating. Where the light touched, a bridge formed. A corridor of shining metal and warm air, connecting the station to the ancient supercarrier. She is making a way for us, Taiwu said. She knows we need to escape. They ran toward the breach. Other people were appearing now. Station crew who had seen the light and understood that safety was on the other side. Yuna saw the Mallory diplomat being carried by 2 Krethian workers. She saw the little Vessi child holding his mother's hand. She saw doctors and engineers and cleaning staff, all running toward the Golden Bridge. The hollow were everywhere now. Dozens of them, hundreds. They poured through the station like dark water, consuming everything they touched. Taiwu stopped at the entrance to the bridge. He turned to face the darkness. Go, he said to Yuna. Get them on the ship. The eternal soul will protect you. What about you? Someone needs to hold them back. Yuna grabbed his arm. Her fingers were shaking, but her voice was not. No, you said you could only fight a few more times. If you stay here, you will die. I have died before, Taiwu said. It was not so bad. You have been asleep for 12,000 years. You just woke up. You cannot give up now. Yuna looked into his eyes. She saw the ancient warrior there, the Deathworlder, the weapon. But she also saw a tired man who had been alone for too long. The ship needs her captain. I need you to show me how to help, please. Taiwu stared at her. Something changed in his face. The hardness softened. The warrior became a person again. You remind me of someone, he said quietly. Someone I knew a long time ago. Who? My daughter. He took Yuna's hand. She was a nurse too. She said the same thing you did. That keeping people alive was the most important job there was. The hollow were close now. So close that Yuna could feel the cold of them on her skin. The absence of them pressing against her thoughts. Run with me, Yuna said. Fight on the ship. Not here. Not alone. Taiwu looked at the hollow. Then he looked at the Golden Bridge. Then he looked at Yuna. Together then, he said. They ran. The bridge carried them across the void between station and ship. Behind them, the gentle respite began to break apart. The hollow were consuming it from the inside. But on the Golden Bridge, they were safe. The light held the darkness back. They stepped onto the eternal soul. The ship hummed around them, warm and alive. Yuna felt something brush against her thoughts. Not words. Just a feeling. Welcome, gratitude, hope. The eternal soul had been waiting 12,000 years for her family to come home. And finally, they had arrived. Walking onto the eternal soul was like walking into a memory. The corridors were wide and tall, built for humans, but decorated with symbols that Yuna did not recognize. Some looked like writing, others looked like pictures. Flowers and mountains and rivers and faces. Everywhere she looked, They were reminders that people had lived here, laughed here, loved here, and died here. These are memorials, Una said. She had stopped in front of a wall covered in names. Thousands of names etched into metal that gleamed like it was new. For the crew? For everyone who served, Taiwu said. His voice was soft, sad. The Eternal Soul carried 10,000 people when she was fully crewed. Scientists, engineers, soldiers, doctors. He touched one of the names. Cooks, teachers, children. We did not know how long the war would last. Some people brought their families. Taiwu's hand fell to his side. Not everyone survived. The other refugees from the station were spreading out behind them. Voss was trying to organize them, his forearms pointing in different directions. The Mallory diplomat was crying. The Vessi child was looking around with wonder instead of fear. A light appeared in front of them. It took the shape of a young woman. She was wearing traditional clothing that Una recognized from old pictures of Earth. A hanbok, beautiful and elegant, with flowing sleeves and a long skirt. Her face was calm, but her eyes were filled with something deep and complicated. Joy, grief, relief. "Captain," the woman said. Her voice echoed slightly, like it was coming from everywhere at once. "You have returned." Taiwu bowed his head. "Isiel, I am sorry I made you wait so long." "I have kept the faith," Isiel said. "I have maintained the systems. I have watched the stars. I have remembered every name, every face, every story." Her form flickered. "I have been very alone. I know. I am sorry." Una understood now. Isiel was the ship. Not just a computer, but a mind. A person, in a way. She had been alive and aware for 12,000 years with no one to talk to, no one to care for. Just empty space and silent memories. "The Hollow are outside," Isiel said. Her voice became harder, more focused. "They are consuming the station. They will try to consume us next." "Can we fight them?" Taiwu asked. "I do not know. My weapons have not been fired in 12,000 years. My crew is gone. I have power, but I do not have people." Isiel looked at the refugees. "These are not warriors." "No," Taiwu agreed. "They are not, but they are alive. And we will keep them that way." He turned to Una. "I need to go to the bridge. Isiel will take you to the medical bay. You are a nurse. This ship needs a healer." "I do not know your technology," Una said. "Everything here is 12,000 years old. 12,000 years more advanced than anything in the Galactic Union," Isiel corrected her. "But I will teach you. The medical bay is designed to be simple to use. Even in the worst battles, we needed people who could learn quickly and save lives." Una looked at the refugees, at the injured, at the scared, at the ones who needed someone to tell them it would be okay. "Show me," she said. As Eul smiled. It was a small smile, but real. "Follow me." The medical bay was a cathedral. That was the only word Una could think of. The ceiling was high and domed, covered in soft lights that changed color based on what was needed. The beds were arranged in neat rows, each one surrounded by machines that hummed with quiet energy. The air smelled clean, safe, like a place where nothing bad could happen. "This is the primary treatment center," Isiel said. "It can hold 500 patients at once. The equipment will scan each person automatically and tell you what they need. You just have to follow the instructions." Una walked to the nearest bed. A screen lit up, showing her diagrams and words in a language she did not know. "I cannot read this," she said. "You will. The ship is already learning your language. Give it a few minutes." Isiel's form flickered again. "I must go help the captain, but I will leave part of myself here to guide you. If you need anything, just speak. I will hear." "Thank you." Isiel paused. Her eyes met Una's. "Thank you for bringing him back. I thought I would be alone forever." Then she was gone. Yuna got to work. The refugees came in waves. Some were injured from the station's collapse. Others were in shock. A few had been touched by the hollow, their skin pale and their eyes empty. Yuna did not know how to treat that, but the machines did. They wrapped the victims in warm light and slowly brought the color back to their faces. The Malari diplomat was dying. She was old, and the stress had been too much. The machines could not save her, but they could make her comfortable. Yuna sat beside her bed and held her hand. "I am scared," the diplomat said. Her voice was thin, weak. "I know," Yuna said, "but you are not alone. I am here. Will it hurt?" "No. It will be like falling asleep. And when you wake up, everything will be beautiful." Yuna did not know if that was true, but it was what her grandmother used to say. And sometimes, kindness matters more than truth. The diplomat closed her eyes. Her breathing slowed. Yuna felt the moment when she was gone. She stood up. She wiped her eyes. She went to the next patient. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Yuna lost track. She treated broken bones and burns and cuts. She held hands and spoke soft words. She learned the machines, learned the ship, learned how to be useful in this strange new world. Voss found her near the end. He looked different now. Smaller, somehow. Less like an administrator and more like a person who had lost everything he knew. "The station is gone," he said. "The hollow consumed it completely. Nothing is left." Yuna nodded. She had expected this. "The captain is on the bridge," Voss continued. "He's going to fight. But he only has a handful of people. The ship needs a crew of thousands to work properly. What can we do?" Voss made a sound that might have been a laugh. "I do not know. I was an administrator. I managed schedules and supplies and complaints. I was not built for war." "Neither was I," Yuna said. "But here we are." She looked around the medical bay, at the patients who were healing, at the machines that were working, at the ship that was carrying them all through the darkness. "The eternal soul does not need warriors," she said slowly. "She needs people who will not give up. People who will do whatever job needs to be done. People who care about keeping others alive." "And you think we are those people?" Yuna smiled. It was tired and sad, but real. "I think we do not have a choice. So we might as well be." Somewhere above them, the ship shuddered. The battle was beginning. The hollow were attacking. And on the bridge, a 12,000-year-old captain was preparing to fight an enemy that had once consumed entire civilizations. But in the medical bay, a nurse kept working. Because that was what nurses did. They kept people alive. The eternal soul sang. It was not a sound that ears could hear. It was something deeper. Something that vibrated in bones and hearts and souls. It was the sound of existence itself, pushing back against the void. On the bridge, Taiwu stood at the center of a ring of light. His eyes were closed. His hands were raised. He was connected to the ship, his mind touching hers, their thoughts moving together like dancers who had practiced for centuries. "Fire," he whispered. The eternal soul fired. Golden light burst from her hull in streams of pure energy. Not lasers. Not missiles. Something else entirely. The light did not destroy the hollow. It reminded them what they had forgotten. That the universe was real. That existence had meaning. That there were things worth fighting for. The hollow screamed their silent screams. Some of them broke apart, their emptiness filled with sudden, terrible fullness. Others fled, retreating into the dark spaces between stars where the light could not follow. But there were so many of them. The ship shuddered as a wave of darkness crashed against her shields. The lights flickered. Alarms wailed. "Captain," Israel's voice came from everywhere. "Hull integrity at 80%. Weapons at 60%. We cannot sustain this level of engagement. Taiwu opened his eyes. They were glowing now, lit from within by the same golden light that powered the ship. How many hollow remain? Approximately 3,000 entities. More are arriving every minute. They are calling to each other, drawing reinforcements from across the void. 3,000. And Taiwu was alone on the bridge. No, not alone. Voss's voice crackled through the communication system. Captain, this is Administrator Voss. I am in the engine room with some of the station's engineers. We do not understand your technology, but we are willing to learn. Tell us what to do. Another voice. One of the Krethian workers. This is Engine Bay 3. We have figured out the power routing. We can give you more energy if you need it. Another voice. A young Vessi woman who had been studying to be a pilot. This is the secondary control room. The navigation systems are not that different from ours. I can help you move. Another voice. And another. And another. All across the ship, the refugees were finding their places. They were not trained. They were not warriors. They were administrators and workers and students and children. But they were alive. And they wanted to stay that way. Taiwu smiled. It was the first real smile he had felt in 12,000 years. All hands, he said, his voice carrying through every speaker on the ship. This is your captain speaking. 12,000 years ago, my people fought a war against the darkness. We thought we won. We thought we could rest. We were wrong. He looked out at the stars, at the hollows swirling around his ship like sharks around a wounded fish. The darkness is still here. It never went away. And it will keep coming, keep consuming, keep destroying until there is nothing left. Unless we stop it. Unless we stand up and say no. The ship hummed around him. He could feel the others now. Their fear. Their hope. Their determination. It flowed through the eternal soul like blood through veins. You are not my crew, Taiwu continued. You did not sign up for this fight. But you are here. And sometimes, that is all that matters. Sometimes the only thing that separates victory from defeat is the choice to keep going when everything seems lost. In the medical bay, Yuna was listening. Her hands were busy treating a patient, but her heart was with the captain's words. My people called themselves Deathworlders, Taiwu said. Not because we came from a dangerous planet, but because we brought death to those who threatened the innocent. That is what humans were. Protectors. Guardians. Shields against the night. He raised his hands again. The golden light grew brighter. Today, you are all Deathworlders. Today, we fight. Together. The eternal soul surged forward. She dove straight into the heart of the hollow formation, her weapons blazing, her shields burning. It should have been suicide. No ship could survive such an attack. But the eternal soul was not just a ship. She was 12,000 years of hope. She was the last dream of a civilization that had given everything to protect others. She was every crew member who had ever served, every name on those memorial walls, every story and every sacrifice. And now she had a crew again. A small crew. A strange crew. A crew that did not know what they were doing, but a crew that refused to give up. In the engine room, Voss and the engineers pushed the power systems beyond their limits. In the control rooms, the young pilot danced the ship through impossible maneuvers. In the weapon bays, workers who had never fired a gun figured out how to aim cannons that predated their entire civilization. And in the medical bay, Yuna kept people alive. That was her job. That was her gift. She could not fire weapons or fly ships or face the darkness directly. But she could heal. She could comfort. She could hold someone's hand and tell them that it would be okay. The battle raged for hours. Or maybe minutes. Time lost meaning in the chaos of light and shadow. The Hollow threw themselves at the Eternal Soul again and again. And again she threw them back. Finally, something changed. The Hollow stopped attacking. They hung in space, their empty forms flickering, uncertain. "They are afraid," Isael said, wonder in her voice. "They have not felt fear in 12,000 years. They have forgotten what it feels like to face something that will not break." Taiwu stepped forward. He was exhausted. His face was pale. Blood was dripping from his nose. But his voice was strong when he spoke. "This is a message to the Hollow, and to anyone else listening. Humanity is still here. We forgot who we were. We lost our technology and our memories and our strength. But we never lost the thing that matters most." He looked at Yuna's face on the view screen, at Voss, at the engineers and pilots and workers who would somehow become warriors. "We never lost our refusal to give up." The Hollow fled. They scattered into the darkness, broken and confused. They were not destroyed. Yuna knew that. Something that old, that vast, could not be killed in a single battle. But they were beaten, pushed back, reminded that there were still things in this universe they could not consume. The Eternal Soul drifted in the quiet aftermath. Her hull was scarred. Her systems were strained. But she was alive. And so was everyone aboard. In the medical bay, Yuna finally allowed herself to rest. She sat down on one of the beds and let out a breath she felt like she had been holding for days. Taiwu found her there. He was leaning on Isiel's holographic form, barely able to walk. But he was smiling. "You did well," he said. "I just did my job. Your job saved lives. That is the most important thing anyone can do." He sat down beside her. "The Galactic Union will send ships to investigate. They will want to know what happened, who we are, what this ship can do. What will you tell them?" Taiwu thought about it. The truth. That humanity was once something more than they remember, and that it is time for them to remember again. Yuna nodded. She was too tired to think about the future, about politics and wars and ancient enemies. Right now, she just wanted to rest. "What happens next?" she asked. "I do not know. The Hollow will return. There are other threats out there, things even my people feared. The universe is still dark and dangerous." Taiwu looked at her. "But we are not alone anymore. And that changes everything." Yuna smiled. She was just a nurse from a small colony world. She had never wanted to be special. She had just wanted to help people. But sometimes, helping people is the most special thing anyone can do. The Eternal Soul sailed on through the stars. Her crew was small and strange and still learning how to be a crew. But they were together, and they were not giving up. Humanity had remembered what it was, and the galaxy would never be the same.